I would like to welcome all of you to tonight's EU referendum debate. Throughout the course of the evening, of course, you will be allowed to participate during this debate. I will be walking up and down with this microphone, so you will be allowed to ask your questions to our esteemed panel. I'd like to introduce the man behind this hard work of coordinating the EU referendum debate tonight. Former President and Patron of NRN UK and Advisor for NRNA International Coordination Committee, Mr. Damar Khalil B. Please give him a huge round of applause.
Thank you, Sadra. We are still waiting some friends traveling far and wide, but we have to start. We have to kick off, and they can join as they come in. First of all, again, warm welcome. I think this is, I believe, is one of the very important debate in terms of Nepali community. And I'm grateful that we have got a very respected panel, expert panel members here. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, just to let you know, I have received so many emails last 24 hours, and I will try to present those questions to the panel member directly, and also the people send questions, they are actually present here. So I will be calling their name. So if you would please stand up and just feel free to present your questions, whoever you want. And the floor is yours. And today the real aim is, I believe, the Nepali community across the country, we have social media, we have a different newspapers, media coverage, but what we are hearing is a lot of confusion. Some people are saying probably we are better off leaving. Some people are saying we are better staying in. So very good logic and fundamental question has been raised. So therefore, I believe NRNA UK today, the organizing this event, NRNA UK, as we all know, is organization for us. Just for the panel member to let you know, for information, the 72 countries, the NRNA, Non-Resident Nepali Association, is spread across the world. So we are one of the chapter among 72. So we, our international community president represents the Nepal government as well in many different sort of forms. So today is our opportunity. And we need to know what is the best for us, for this country, for our children's future, so on. Ex-Joint Officer.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Damar sir. I've just sort of sussed out that the main topics that have come out here is now first immigration, economy, and globalization, right? On that, Alex initially mentioned about Gurkhas. Gurkhas were brought into the context, and I believe that is slightly, I think, off target, because Gurkhas have been serving the British Crown for 200 years, and then to compare the Gurkhas with the current, for example, like let's say Romania, the former communist countries who have joined the European, and they're willingly, they're all allowed to come here. So I think that should be separated, it should be a separate issue slightly. And although it is immigration, the topic is immigration. And the other thing is, you've also mentioned economy. On the part of economy, okay, we've got to trade with Europe, it says. But then, let's say, for example, if we are living here, some are driving Mercedes, some are driving BMWs, French cars, all sorts of European cars. But then, if you say, right, we can't sell our thing to them. If, let's say, when they produce BMWs and other cars, whatever, if we don't buy, they will suffer. So therefore, it's a give and take type of thing, from my point of view. And Mr. Shaikh Azim mentioned about globalization, perfectly agree with that. But having said on that, I mean, like, people, hordes and hordes of people coming, like, let's say if Turkey joins, 4-5 million I see in the papers, etc., will be now, and they will, they're all, I think, most probably dying to come here, most of them. Yeah? If that happens, the school places here, NHS, and all the other facilities, etc., I mean, the government will have very difficult time because it's a small island. It's not if that many people come. Therefore, if although you supported your point, it sounded more.
Keep it a little bit short, sir, please.
Yeah, but then it was more like a political speech as opposed to okay, the topic is this, blah blah blah, and I say this because it should be done this way. Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, I just what I feel like that. Yeah. Okay.
Thank.
General Howard might have seen my name in the verdict given by the High Court in regard to the Gurkha's case, seeking equal treatment in the British Army. I was the one to write the view of government of Nepal about the Gurkhas, what the government of Nepal views on the present system, and either is there any necessity to change it. Yes, great country, motherland of democracy and rule of law, so it should be equal. Now,
Yeah, please get to the question. Please.
My point, I do not intend to repeat. I want to talk about integration is good in the 21st century. This integration make you weaker and weaker in economic front and every front. I think it is my view that if the referendum result came out in favor of leave, then I suspect Scotland may opt the other things, and as a result, United Kingdom may fall apart. So we are talking about squeezing us into only England, or we want to keep our UK under the European Union.
Thank you very much. Just keep it short. Thank you, sir.
The other point, very short. We are talking about sovereignty.
Is this question for leave?
Yeah, I am asking my questions for
If you keep
leave.
it short, then it's easy to answer.
Okay.
Otherwise, it gets all complicated.
Yeah, we are living in a global village. United Nations is there, WTO is there, and so many agreements and a treaty has been signed. So there are customary rules of international law by which many countries has given their sovereignty right with such global bodies. So I don't think sovereign power we are getting back from EU, it will be good for the UK.
Thank you very much. Please.
Yeah, okay. My name is Krishna Adhikari. I am affiliated to the Britain-Nepal Academic Council, and I work at the University of Oxford. My question basically has been taken up, my one question about Scotland. This question was basically to Sir Gerald Howard. He mentioned about Nicholas Sturgeon, not being able to change the law due to the EU controlling, the lawmaking. If that's the case, why C is basically in the Remain campaign? And the links to this and to in the previous responses to Mr. Jacobs that say that the idea that if UK comes out from the EU, I think the prospect of the nationalistic drive, even the far right nationalism, I think would be high. And we already hear that the Scottish would like to have another referendum. I think the kind of the disintegration will start. Of course, Scotland would like to be in EU. And linked to this one, I think to again Sir Gerald Howard is that he said, okay, if the Eastern European don't come, then the benefit could go to people coming from other countries. Is that any guarantee that the basically UK coming out from EU, having seeking some kind of deals in the EU, would be given this kind of rights that okay, you take the free markets and you don't take anybody from us? Would that be automatic benefit to the people from the other Commonwealth countries Nepal is not a member of the Commonwealth countries. I don't think so. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So fire away, please.
Sonam Sherpa. Given the fact that freedom of movement is one of the 4 fundamental principles of the EU, what happens if the current moderate migration from European countries turns into mass exodus in the future and eats into our resources? How do you tackle it? Question number 1. And second is
That is simple.
to remain campaign.
To remain campaign.
And the
Okay.
question number 2 is, how can you guarantee us that the confederation of the EU, which is slowly going towards the federation, it might not into super state? How can you confirm that it is not going to turn into a super state? That's all.
Thank you very much, Financial Advisor and Access Participants. I have a one question for each panel. First to Alex. As we know that if country remain in EU and this referendum, how can country survive with the Brussels bureaucratic thunderstorm in terms of directives and regulations? And it will be too late if the country remains in EU and we can't do anything after this referendum. What will be the next plan to get the more power? Because the MP Minister of Economic Parliament looks very weakened over there. And second question to EU Brexit campaign team, in terms of local question, if UK comes out from the EU, how it would be beneficial to the local people in Ulster in terms of housing? Thank you. Thank you very much.
UK in the global politics, very big leader in the world, and UK is the head of the Commonwealth country. UK is the NATO member, bombing many part of the world. UK is allied force, American allied force, American-led allied force. So internationally, UK is, whatever the UK is playing today, and whatever the refugee program is coming today, this is due to conflict in the Gulf countries, in Afghanistan, Iraq, and so many places. And my question is that, after, only practical question I am doing. In Afghanistan, after the downfall of Saddam Hussein, 500, this is my question. 500 interpreters, they apply for immigration to this country. So they all granted. So whatever the thing is, either you want to lead the world or you want to out. This is my question. Thank you.
Which this question to who? Lead.
Hello everyone. First of all, I want to make clear that I will support the Remain campaign, irrespective of what the result is. But I want to ask Leave campaign many questions, but I don't have time for that. But first of all, I want to ask you, how come you came to fall to alliance with the far-rightist UK? Far-rightist UK Independent Party. How come you come to fall to alliance with them? I mean, immigrants, and the major issue of this referendum is about immigration. Being an immigrant, what I think is, after 23rd of June, if Britain decide to leave European Union, are we the next to be targeted to be removed? That's my question, number one.
Thank you very much.
That's why, no, I got two more questions. Because therefore, as immigrants, I support to them. Second, after 23rd, are you gonna, what will happen to Boris Johnson and David Cameron? Are you going to split and make a new party alliance with the United Kingdom Independent Party? That's what my question.
Thank you. Next question, Parliament, please.
Thank you. Sir, I'd just like to ask Sir Jaron, I'm so sorry you are campaigning for leaving Europe. I think Britain, my own personal opinion, that Britain should be part of the European Union, one of the leading countries, and fifth largest economy in the world. I think, leaving Britain from Europe, that will make Europe weaker. To tackle today's poverty, terrorism, global warming, I think we need to be united. But anyway, however, you just said, I absolutely agree with Alex Crawford. He said, because we contribution, you said 21 billion. I think that's wrong figure. Because your own party former Prime Minister, John Major, he said in Oxford Union, last year alone, Britain contributed 11 billion pounds. And 6 billion pounds Britain, debate. Yeah, 11 billion. Why are you saying 21 billion? I think, can you correct that one? And another one I'd like to ask is, if I think Britain will, win the election, but whatever happened, how you control the Scotland? I'm sure Scotland will remain in the European Union. Are you going to put border fence there? I mean, obviously Scotland also, part of the United Kingdom.
Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Referendum Rai. I'm the Vice President of NRNA UK. My question goes to Leave Party Sir Gerald Howard, MP. We are here for 150,000 Gurkhas and Nepalis around the country, and clearly said that we are here and after you leave the country we'll enjoy. But I've been serving for 29 years this country and clearly says that my son is born this country and my son got a British citizen, and very last page in British passport, paragraph 7 written, the British citizens is the government property. If government want, can remove it at any time. As my colleague says, after the UE, our turn to come? My question is for General Howard. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, just to remind you all, we have got literally 15 minutes to wrap up, okay?
If UK leaves EU, will there be any impacts on Gulf recruitments? Because when leaving EU, the mandatory requirement for MOD or forces contribution to current ops and future ops will be small. As we have seen in the past for several decades, the armed forces number has been reducing every time. Last, it reduced already, Sahid mentioned, last it reduced down to 82,000 soldiers. Because of there is no commitment other than United Nations and NATO, will there be any impact to Gulf recruitments, please?
World globalization started since First World War, and there was a saying, "Sun never set on British Empire." Within 40 years of European Union, the sun is almost eclipsed now. So why not we leave EU and start trading around the globe with 7.6 million people?
Thank you.
Ganesh Karka, and I'm an international student. Britain is already losing thousands of international students because of changes in recent student visas and immigration system. Number 2, some universities have already shut down their London campuses. Number 3, most of the research universities have a high number of international students. London School of Economics 44.64%, Harriet-Watt University 31.37%, UCL 75%, University of Buckingham 56.35%. Further, leaving EU will stop funding from EU research degrees, like Alex said about Erasmus programs. Fifth, home and EU students, let's talk about home students. They have opted out because recent changes, the fees has been increased by 3 times, 3,000 has gone to 9,000. So in this scenario, what will be further step to cope this challenge to sustain a global competitive market where America and Australia are targeting more international students? Further, how will it maintain its soft power? How UK will maintain its soft power after leaving EU? My question is to the EU group. Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. I just would like to say I have received so many questions, but in particular I have a question from the PhD student, Vakta Guru, who is in Liverpool, but his points are covered, so I'm not going to repeat that. And also I had received questions from Dr. Hemraj Sharma, and his question is all related economic and also the research program, etc., because he is one of the academics in the Liverpool University Research. Can I just say thank you very much? I know many interested people couldn't be here, but I believe all the questions is covered. And I just would like to thank, before the panel members give a quick closing remarks, I think it has been a good debate, and I think a lot of burning questions was asked, and the panel gave their effective answers. So our responsibility is now, we go back to our community and try to explain. At the end of the day, is democracy, the vote is your decision. But our duty is to make sure that explain the situation if they have got any questions. So, if I may, I would like to start from Syed Azim, please.
And without keeping repeating myself, we've been listening to the politicians who created this mess for us to live in. So for us now is to make the best of the situation, is to actually understand that we are stronger as a united union at the moment. It is not perfect, okay? It's not perfect. You do need, as you know, I'm not a politician, but you do need a strong leader from the UK that's going to fight our cause there. I think he has to represent the first and foremost, the benefit what is to the UK first, and really, really fight for that. I think we need, and I think you as an organisation, if you do vote for your to remain in there, I'm sure most of you don't even know who your European MP is. So you need to engage with those sort of guys and start asking them to represent you and actually understand your cases. And I'm not going to be like the rest of these politicians and scaremonger and talk about, you know, the values and, you know, getting in or not getting out. I think my own experience as a business person who's traded in France, Belgium, Gibraltar, Germany, UK, I think for us, for me, it was the last 10 years, it's been a fantastic opportunity to work for my staff to go and work out there without having to work about permits and relationships. We are, again, sticking to the same word, we are in a global village and we need to act like a global village.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. What I have noticed this evening is that most questions have been challenging the Leave campaign, and they don't really have any answers. We know what the European Union does, however imperfect it is, but we know nothing about their plans for the future. It's all just leave, and we'll pick up the pieces afterwards. So together, on the 23rd of June, we face a choice: embracing the UK's history of immigration and making us all work together, or now erecting unrealistic barriers and damaging barriers to cut off the UK from the rest of the world. It will then be for you and your communities and the other 50 million voters to decide. But we in Labour trust that you will choose to remain in the European Union on the basis that we will be stronger together. Thank you very much.
I agree, we do know the European Union, and at the moment it is an old barge a 20th century construct that is sinking gently in proportion in the world economic activity. Not only is it an old barge that has destroyed a generation of young people, European young people's opportunities for the future, it is a barge with an enormous great ticking bomb in it called the euro. Us being part of that when it explodes will not be a good idea. Now, you've heard a lot of statistics tonight, and at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to prove to yourself which side of the argument is absolutely right, because neither side is absolutely right. It's not black and white, it is murky grey. So ask yourselves the question, do you think the young people of this country, and indeed the current generation, have they got that spark that made Britain great in the first place, that made Britain trade with the world, made Britain be the first with the Industrial Revolution, made Britain in 1940 the one country that stood firm in Europe for democracy and freedom and finally led Europe to victory over the Nazi tyranny? The Britain that in 1982 was told we couldn't retake the Falklands, and yet the spark of our young people showed we could. If you believe our young people, your young people, have got what it takes to succeed in a modern 21st century global world, then set them free from the shackles of Europe to succeed. On the other hand, if they haven't got that spark, it doesn't really matter what you vote, because we're well and truly stuffed.
Thank you. Finally, Sir Gerald, please.
Well, David, first of all, I would like to thank you very much indeed for having organised this meeting tonight, having chaired it so well, despite a lot of people wanting to get there and have their say. I think we've had a tremendous range of questions from the audience. So on behalf of all of us, if I may, my fellow panellists, say a big thank you to you and your team. And also to Gurkha Television and the radio station as well.
Everest Times.
And Everest Times, wherever Everest Times is. Thank you all very much indeed. And I hope that it has been informative for you. We have, as you've seen, we have been discussing quite trenchantly issues, but there has been no personal abuse on this platform. We have tried to conduct ourselves in a courteous fashion, and I hope we have done so. At the end of the day, this, though, is not a difficult issue. Prime Minister told us 3 years ago that he wanted to see fundamental reform of the European Union. He accepted that it was not working. We supported him in that campaign. The whole country supported him in that campaign to get that fundamental reform. Unfortunately, the deal that he struck was not that fundamental reform. He secured nothing. In the 4 areas where he says he's won the reform, he has not. The first one was to curb migration give us control over migration in Eastern Europe. That has not happened. All he's got is some suspension of in-work benefits for 7 years. Thereafter, that concession departs. He says that we're out of ever closer union. We have no treaty change to confirm that we are out of ever closer union, a cardinal principle of the whole project. He said that he would give us more, the third point was more democracy. Well, the only way that we can defeat a European directive is if we get 55% of the other national parliaments to agree with us. That is not restoring power to your parliament. And finally, on competitiveness, well, he was constantly talking about being more competitive, but you heard what I said earlier, the cost of British industry is £33 billion a year. So, my friends, it is a simple choice. The Prime Minister has not secured the fundamental reform that we all want to see. Our European partners did not give it to us. So we have not got the influence. You heard what I had to say about fisheries policy. You heard what I had to say about Nicola Sturgeon and what she wants to do in Scotland. We do not have influence. And my friends, if you vote to remain on the 23rd of June, you will find that the continental partners will turn around and say, thank you, Britain. We have put up with your whinging and your whining for the past 10 years. You've had your decision, you're on the train to the United States of Europe, the doors are locked, shut up, and by the way, we're only interested in our own project, which is the euro, which is in crisis, and you've heard is destroying job opportunities for young people in southern Europe. My friends, Britain has a prouder role to play in the world. The choice is yours. It will be a very exciting opportunity for Britain, the 5th largest economy in the world, as I said before, a nuclear power, one of only the 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council, the 5th largest defense budget in the world. Let us screw our courage to the sticking place and let us go out and search for those open seas of which Winston Churchill spoke, so that our sovereign lady, Her Majesty the Queen, may remain our sovereign lady, and we will cease to be accountable to a court composed of people from the continent, the European Court of Justice, and our Supreme Court become the Supreme Court in this country, and Her Majesty, the proud sovereign of an independent, sovereign, united kingdom, charting its course in the world. Thank you.
Thank you.